Hardest decision I've ever made. Cutting off family. Big decision, you know. Relationships is one of the most important things in your life. I would argue that it's more important than your health. But surely it has a reason, right? You never want to judge until you hear the full story.
Oprah recently had a panel about people that have no contact with their parents.
Oprah, she's a dumb.
I wanted to share my story in case it helps somebody. This is not PG 13, so if you've had some childhood trauma, I just wanted to give you a chance to shut it off so nobody has to have any of that brought up. If it's
Childhood trauma.
When I was a kid, my father would throw my mom through walls.
Okay.
He cheated on her. She cheated on him.
Okay.
They were divorced when I was very young. I grew up with my dad primarily. When we ate at the dinner table with our mouths open, he would stab us with a fork.
Okay, yeah, all right. That's justification. I think you gotta cut ties with them at that point. There were these psycho parents, like they would have these little quirks where they don't like something, and then they would punish people severely when they have the power to do so. I always believe that people love power. They love power more than anything else. They love it more than money. They love it more than sex. They love it more than themselves. That's why you see people move away from their parents, right? Because they want power. They don't like being dominated.
He didn't like something we said at the dinner table, he would grab us by the neck and throw us on the ground and hold his fist about 6 inches from our face. When we disobeyed, he would pull down our pants and whip us on the backside with a leather belt. He would throw us down the hill in the backyard and threaten to hit us with a frying pan. That's my father.
Sounds like my mother, too.
My father would have sex with black women when he was younger, just to prove that a white man could do it. He would say the N-word and call people coons. This was my childhood. My dad was not a good person. But then on Sunday, he would praise Jesus in his Eddie Bauer, in his fancy ostrich skin boots, and praise Jesus.
A coward. A coward that is afraid of his evil deeds, and he will pray to Jesus so that he will have a better afterlife. Right? Some people do believe that. They think that all the sins they committed will be erased as long as they pray to Jesus. So I'm already on his side off the rip.
And many, many years went by, and he had open heart surgery. And I had talked to him, and I had found out that he was having surgery. And I said, it's time for some closure. So I flew out there, and I looked at him, and we talked, and I said, you know, we're done.
Good.
It takes 2 to 3 generations to stop the cycle of abuse, and I'm choosing to do it now. And I told my dad, if I allow you to treat my children the way that you treated me, it's not your fault because I know what you are. You're a monster. It's my fault for letting you be around them. My job is to keep them safe and to break the cycle. I love you. I forgive you, but we're done.
Okay.
And he blamed his dad for who he is today.
That is such a piss poor excuse. People like that do not take accountability for their own actions. Oh, I kill people because of my parents. Oh yeah, I beat my children because of my parents. My father was beat nearly to death by his dad, and my dad never hit me.
And I said, I'm choosing not to be like you. I'm choosing to be different. How long in your life are you going to blame your dead dad who's 6 feet in the dirt for who you are today? That's an excuse.
Correct.
That's a choice that you make.
Correct.
You can choose not to be like him, but you've chosen to be like him and use him as a stumbling block for who you are today.
A scapegoat.
Said, I respect that. Then we're done. That was it. We talked about a year ago because he was reaching out to me and I had to remind him that we're done. And he said, isn't it possible that people change? I said, sure, but not you.
Mm-hmm.
My dad said something and I quoted him back and I said, you can take the boy out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the boy. He said, you're right. Goodbye. I don't need that in my life. My mom, on her 4th marriage, When I was little, about 12, she and her mom, my grandma, got in an argument. And my mom took all of our birthday presents, they're like little ceramic birthday toys, or they were like little angels that has like the birthday, 8, 10, 3, my grandma would give them on her birthdays.
Nice.
So she took all those and threw them in a paper bag on a rainy day in our Suburban and threw them on her mom's front yard, my grandma, and never spoke to her again. She might have when she was about to die. My mom never came to my high school graduation. She moved up to Oregon when I was a senior because she didn't want to sit next to her mom, that she hated her so much that she didn't want to be close to her mom, so she didn't come to her son's graduation. When I got married, my mom flew down from Oregon to visit my siblings while they were getting ready for my wedding because they came to my wedding. And then she flew home and didn't come to my wedding. When my sister died last September, 14 months ago, 24, my mom didn't know and I had to tell her. And I had called her and said, do you want to come down and meet her? Or come down and, come to the funeral. We put her ashes in the ocean. It was a funeral.
Yeah, that's just people that loves power more than anything else. Right? Power can be blinding, and then they prioritize their desire to be in control over relationships. These people are usually alone and miserable.
Well, I have allergies. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? This is your daughter. Well, I would pay for an airfare. I'll pay for a bus. Hell, I don't even get along with you, Mom, but I'll pick you up because this is bigger than that. Nope. But I'll think about her the day it happens.
Wow.
See, I'm saying this because there are some people in our lives that we can't change who they are. And I don't want to be around abusive people, unhealthy people. There is a difference between having a difference of opinion and just purposefully being a mean, angry, nasty person to hurt people. And it sucks. But for the health of my kids, for my wife, my family, I have to have no contact in order to stop the generational cycle of abuse. My mom was mistreated by her dad. She was abandoned. My grandpa was abandoned by his dad. My dad, his dad was married 9 times. My grandpa on the other side was married 9 times. It's been a generational dysfunction junction, and I have chosen not to be that person. My wife is my best friend. We've been married for 24 years. It does suck, though.
It does.
Because my parents have never met my kids. My mom has never met my wife.
Yeah, I cannot understand. I can understand why people like power, right? It's just in their nature. They like to have full control of everything in their lives. And if they couldn't control something, they much rather abandon those people. These kinds of people, they're usually the most miserable people in their lives. They get married thinking that they can control their spouse, and then shit happens, right? They cannot control their spouse 100%. They don't want 99% control. They want 100% control over their spouse or partner. And if they can't get that, arguments, shenanigans, divorce.
Birthdays, anniversaries. When I graduated college, Christmases, Thanksgivings, they're not there, and it sucks.
Yep.
And I'm saying this because I know I'm not the only person that has this. And it's not your fault. You're doing what's best for yourself, for your own mental health. And that's good. And I know this is going to sound cheesy, but I'm proud of you for doing it. It's not easy. I wish it would be different. But I'm not going to be around people that don't treat me with respect and love and compassion. And sometimes I realize when I make videos that I come across angry. It's because I care. When I see people being bullied, mistreated, racially profiled, looked at differently because they're not white, I act as if those people were me when I was a little boy. Love thy neighbor as thyself. When you're a little kid, you don't have a choice but to live in that house. You're stuck there
Yep.
because you're a minor. You don't have the luxury
This is why a lot of these psychopaths, they want to have kids. They want something that they can easily control. Someone that has like no sense of the world, no understanding of rules. These adults, they usually try to take advantage of the fact and have kids, so they got something that they could easily control. Kids are super easy to control, especially when you're a control freak, especially when you're stronger than them physically. These people, they like to like to have kids, a bunch of kids, just so they can have something to control. And as soon as they become like older and they learn from something from school, they start to grow up and mature, and they learn how to be more independent. And they realize some of these rules that their parents are imposing on them is stupid. Well, they will start to speak against these control freaks, and then you will have fights in the house. Seen it happen with my friends and family.
of leaving. That's why I started making videos. I don't care if I'm ever internet famous. I didn't do it for this. I'm just a regular person like you. I had a crappy childhood. But at the same time, if I wouldn't have grown up like that, I wouldn't be doing what I am today. It's kind of like when you work at a job in the field and you get those calluses on your hands. I was forced to grow up at a young age. So when you see me angry, it's not because I'm always angry. I've never even been in a fist fight. I want to avoid conflict at all costs. I'm angry because I'm passionate, because I care, because I grew up in a house where I was helpless. And I started to watch superheroes and read comic books, and I love Wonder Woman and Captain America because they fight for the people that can't find it for themselves. That's why I care so much. It's not rage for the sake of being rage. It's rage because I'm pissed off that you feel hopeless in what's happening in this country, and I want you to know that you're not alone. I hope that helps somebody. I'm sorry I rambled, but where we see people where they are today, we don't know where they came from. And I'm guilty of this too. We've seen somebody that's successful or is well off.
Yep.
When I was 20 years old, I couldn't afford a bicycle in Oregon. I had to walk 3.5 miles to work each day.
Damn.
There was times I had to go into back interest because I couldn't afford rent. When I finally got a car, I had to sell my PlayStation.
Oh no, not the PS. PlayStation 2? PlayStation 1 is ass. It's okay to lose that, but not the PlayStation 2. Was it a PS2?
In my comic book collection, to buy gas, I had to sell my PS1 to pay rent one time. Just because I happen to be in a certain situation today doesn't mean that it was always that way. We don't know what people have been through when they see where they are today. Just remember that. We don't know people's stories. Sometimes they're passionate, they might be more emotional, more happy, more sad, because we have a lot of stuff in our past. And I hope that this, in my opinion, is healthy toxic masculinity, because there's nothing weak about doing what I'm doing. In fact, I would say that doing this is probably the most masculine thing you can do, because guys, as a majority, have been told that being emotional, being open is weakness, and it's not. It actually takes more strength to do this than to punch a guy in the face out of anger and rage because you're emotionally unstable. I hope this helps. All right, have a good day.
Well, you know what? Pretty good. Pretty amazing. I would like to change that opinion about being open, right? I'll save that for another time. But overall, that's the gist of it. People like to judge people like, oh, why don't you have a good relationship with your parents? They raised you, right? They took care of you, right? Yeah, but you were also their slave, their control, their power ego slave. And at some point this will be damaging in the long term. It will probably be damaging eternally for some people, right? When they have these control freak parents that just wants to impose their own personal customized rules onto you, and if you don't follow it, you'll get your ass beat. And in his case, he was getting stabbed with a fork, and his father that is a control freak would threaten to, like beat the shit out of his kids. A full grown man exerting his power on little kids and then turning into Christianity to forget all his sins. These people are evil by nature. They want to max life. They think that they're maxing life by enjoying their power, enjoying the ride on their ego, and then they go to church and think that they know that what they're doing is bad, but they think that by going to church, like all their sins would be forgiven. That's not how Christianity works, unfortunately, or fortunately, because we don't want these assholes in heaven too after we die. So simply said, I don't think that it's wrong to cut ties with your parents if they are innately evil. There's just nothing wrong with it. I just couldn't imagine. I just can't fathom the idea of abandoning a relationship just so you can enjoy your own power, enjoy your own control. It's not bad giving up control. Some people just need to accept reality. It's just because you have control over like having your own little rules in your house, right? Like maybe you don't like someone's little quirks, or you don't like the way someone make noise or chew food, right? People will just abandon them or use violence to solve the problem, or they would forego those relationships just so they could live and be alone and have full control of their entire environment in their own home. Those people are usually miserable. You will see them on Hoarders. You will see them in my 600-pound life. Like these people with these extreme problems, with these extreme mental health issues, they are usually control freaks at some degree. And I also got scrutiny because I don't for not having a good relationship with my mom. Like this one Hispanic kid was like, "Oh, she gave you the gift of life." Oh yeah, she also beat the shit out of me when she came back home from a bad day of gambling, and she also abandoned me a few good times. Oh yeah, fuck! Oh man, drop my damn thing. But overall, people like to make harsh judgment on you just because you don't talk to your parents because they want a virtue signal. If you have a good reason to cut ties with your parents, do it. Many people will not understand it, but then don't listen to those dumb people. They don't have a clue.